I found this article in a 1930s news magazine about Willy Messerschmitt. Now, Willy Messerschmitt, he was the inventor of the German fighter plane, but he wasn't a supporter of Hitler. And this article is speculating about whether he's still alive or not because he appears to have disappeared. It's entitled Messerschmitt Mystery. Never again, muttered Germany's crack plane designer Walter Messerschmitt, as groundsmen once pulled him from the crumpled remnants of a new machine he had been testing. Long said to have been suspect in Nazi eyes, Messerschmitt was last week the centre of one of the war's queerest riddles. From contradictory mouths came reports that he A had suffered an official eclipse, B had left Germany, or C was still at his post. A man little interested in politics, Messerschmitt drew up the blueprints for which some of Hitler's finest aircraft had been built. As a young man at the Jena Mechanical Institute, he worked slavishly and absorbed knowledge greedily on 10 shillings a week, most of which was spent on tobacco. An instructor noted Walter's flair for aeronautics and gave him a push up the ladder, and within 3 years he was a famous man. But as the budding Nazi party tightened its grip, Messerschmitt was directing a special department at Krupp's, turning out the first few aeroplanes to bear his name. Then one day, a group of jackbooted Nazis turned up to inspect the factory, just as Messerschmitt was twiddling with a delicate piece of mechanism. An assistant warned him to stand to attention, give the Hitler salute and be as helpful as possible. But when the SS Guard officials arrived at his bench, they were greeted only with a tornado of nuts and bolts and screwdrivers. The outrage was reported to Hitler, who was reluctant to lose such a valuable man and so contented himself with ordering Messerschmitt to be removed from Krupp's with a stiff warning. He thereupon organised a factory of his own in Stuttgart. Black crosses were later alleged to have been marked against Messerschmitt's name in Gestapo dossiers when police spies found he had made friends with several anti-Nazi officers. But soon after the war started, the Nazis discovered that their vaunted Messerschmitt fighter was being outflown by both British and French models, and then a batch of Gestapo men turned up at the inventor's home. From that point, a crop of rumours sprouted. It was murmured that Himmler's men had handed him his passport and curtly told Messerschmitt to quit Germany if he valued his life. All his belongings and patents were declared now to be the property of the Reich. Last week, the 40-year-old inventor was reported to have slipped across the frontier into Holland, applied for Dutch naturalisation and boarded a KLM airliner out for Java. If you like this content, please take a look at my channel, Not History But News. I'm going through a big box full of old newspapers that I found in an attic, and there's loads of stuff like this. There are 2 or 3 really detailed reports of the sinking of battleships, just as they were reported in the papers at the time. And then there's the very first air raid over Britain in October 1939 over the Firth of Forth. And then there's stuff like, there's an article about Hitler's girlfriends that the paper ran in 1939, listing all the women that he's rumoured to have had relationships with. And then there's an account of an argument that Sir Neville Henderson had with Adolf Hitler. Sir Neville Henderson was the British ambassador to Germany in August 1939, so this is just before the war broke out. And he went to see Adolf Hitler and had a row with him, and there's an article about it in the paper. And then there are some kind of really intimate little stories, like the one about the 14-year-old mess boy on a ship that got torpedoed. And he's talking about what it was like and how scared he was and how he spent the night in a lifeboat before he got picked up. So please take a look at my channel, Not History But News, and I hope you enjoy the content. And if you do, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.